There's a popular belief that flooring the gas pedal on a cold morning gives your engine a quick jump start. That's exactly what my friend used to think, right up until his engine seized, costing him thousands in repairs. If you're doing this or any of these 9 things this winter, you're putting your engine at risk. Let me show you the smarter way to protect your car. Number 1, driving at high RPMs too soon. You're running late on a bitterly cold morning and the temptation hits. Rev the engine, get that sluggish car moving faster. It feels like the logical choice when every second counts. But here's the real problem. Instead of saving time, you're setting the stage for costly engine damage down the line. When you start your car in freezing temperatures, the oil inside is much thicker than it is under normal conditions. That cold oil doesn't immediately flow through the engine the way it should, leaving critical components like pistons, cylinders, and bearings underserved in those crucial early moments. Now, if you push the engine to high RPMs before the oil circulates properly, those parts are essentially running dry, generating heat and friction that accelerates wear and tear. It's not just uncomfortable for your engine, it's destructive. Valvoline explains that oil viscosity plays a huge role in protecting your engine during a cold start. In colder climates, oil that's too thick can delay lubrication, leaving the engine vulnerable. At high RPMs, this delayed protection compounds the problem, making mechanical failure far more likely over time. Instead, a steady, gentle start gives oil the opportunity to warm up and flow efficiently. It's this straightforward habit that keeps essential engine parts running smoothly and prevents repair bills that could run into the thousands. But high RPMs aren't the only culprit. There's another common mistake drivers make right after starting their car. Number 2, flooring the gas pedal. Picture this. Your car is stuck in a patch of snow and the wheels are barely turning. Instinct kicks in and you slam your foot on the gas pedal, thinking more power will get you free. It makes sense in the moment, but this move can do more harm than good. Flooring the gas when your engine and transmission are still cold is a formula for trouble, and an expensive one. Here's why. When you floor the gas, you immediately force the engine and transmission to operate under high stress before they've reached the proper temperature. At low temperatures, fluids like transmission oil and motor oil are thicker, so they don't flow or lubricate as efficiently. The result? Components like the transmission gears and engine internals heat up unevenly, creating excessive wear. Instead of gunning the engine, ease into the gas pedal and focus on traction. Keep sand, kitty litter, or even a set of snow mats in your car. These can provide the grip you need to get moving without putting stress on the drivetrain. Small adjustments like this can save you hundreds or even thousands in repair costs. Even if you're gentle on the gas, there's one sound you should never ignore in winter. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. Number 3, ignoring strange noises. Ever hear a strange squeal or rattle first thing on a freezing winter morning and just shrug it off? It might seem minor, but ignoring those small noises can snowball into major issues and a sky-high repair bill. Winter amplifies these sounds because cold temperatures put extra strain on your car, and those noises are often the first warning signs that something is wrong. A high-pitched squealing, for instance, could mean your serpentine belt is slipping. This belt is crucial. It powers components like the alternator and power steering pump. If it's loose or worn out, especially in the cold, it could snap unexpectedly, leaving you stranded and looking at costly repairs. Similarly, if you hear a rattling sound, it could mean components like the pulleys or tensioners are seizing up due to freezing temperatures, leading to cascading mechanical failures. When your car speaks, listen. Strange noises in the winter can signal small issues that spiral out of control if left unchecked. But what about a practice almost everyone does in the winter, thinking it's helpful? Number 4, letting it idle too long. You've probably seen it before. Drivers leaving their cars idling on a frigid morning, thinking it gives the engine a head start. Maybe you do it yourself, letting the car run for 10 minutes while you finish your coffee. But here's the truth. Prolonged idling does more harm than good and could be costing you money without you even realizing it. When your car idles too long, it's not warming up efficiently. Instead, fuel residues can build up on cylinder walls, contaminating the oil and leading to unnecessary engine wear over time. Modern cars are designed to warm up faster when driven gently, not sitting static. Prolonged idling also wastes fuel. Just 2 minutes can burn the same amount as driving for a mile, according to Kuni Honda. Over the winter, that adds up to unnecessary expenses and fuel wastage. The smarter move? Start the car, let it run briefly, then drive gently. It's better for your engine, your wallet, and the planet. Now that we've tackled idling, let's talk about another habit that's doing harm without you even realizing it. Number 5. Using the heater right away. You hop into your freezing car, shivering as you flip the heater to full blast. It seems harmless. Who wouldn't want to warm up as quickly as possible? But here's the surprising part. Cranking up the heater immediately can actually slow your engine's warm-up process, and that's bad news for your car and your fuel efficiency. Here's why. When the heater is turned on right after starting the car, the HVAC system draws energy directly from the engine, which is already struggling in the cold. At this stage, the engine hasn't reached its optimal operating temperature, and demanding power for secondary systems like the heater forces it to work harder. The better move? Start your car, allow it a minute or two to circulate oil and stabilize, then gradually turn on the heater. During this time, using the defroster or heated seats, if available, can keep you relatively comfortable without straining the engine. Speaking of warm-ups, here's a myth that could be costing you dearly. Number 6. Skipping warm-up in winter. Some drivers believe that modern cars are so advanced they don't need a warm-up at all. And while it's true that today's engines are more efficient, skipping a warm-up entirely can still cause unnecessary strain on parts you might not even think about. Here's what happens. When you start driving immediately in freezing weather, the engine isn't the only component still cold. The transmission, exhaust system, and other key parts haven't reached their optimal operating state yet either. Cold transmission fluid, for example, doesn't lubricate the gears as effectively, increasing wear during those first few minutes. Similarly, the exhaust components, like the catalytic converter, need time to heat up to function properly. By driving too soon, you're essentially pushing parts made for precision to operate less efficiently, which can shorten their lifespan. Experts recommend letting the car run just long enough to adjust your mirrors and seatbelt, then driving gently for the first few minutes. Now let's talk about a mistake that's all too common when you're in a hurry. Number 7. Overloading the engine cold. Imagine this. It's a freezing morning, and you're loading up your car with heavy bags, tools, or maybe even enough luggage for a weekend trip. What's the harm, right? The trouble is, that extra weight can wreak havoc on your engine, especially when it's cold and not performing at its peak efficiency. Here's the issue. Cold engines already face more resistance because the oil inside is thicker and slower to circulate. Adding a heavy load forces the engine to work harder to move the vehicle, increasing the strain before components have properly warmed up. The U.S. Department of Energy reports that cold weather can reduce fuel economy by 10% to 20% in city driving, and even more on short trips. Combine that with the drag of extra weight, and you're burning through fuel much faster than you'd expect. Want to avoid these problems? Lighten your load and let your engine warm up before carrying heavy cargo. But weight isn't the only factor. What about the oil you're using? Number 8. Using thick oil in cold starts. Some drivers believe thicker oil provides better protection for their engine, especially in tough conditions like winter. But in reality, using oil that's too thick in freezing temperatures can cause major problems, and it all comes down to how oil behaves in the cold. When temperatures drop, oil becomes more viscous, essentially thicker, which limits its ability to flow freely through the engine. If you're using a high viscosity oil such as 15W in extremely cold conditions, It may not circulate fast enough. Without proper circulation, critical engine components like pistons and bearings are left under-lubricated, leading to friction, increased wear, and even catastrophic engine damage in severe cases. For winter driving, the key is sticking to the manufacturer's recommended oil grade, which you'll find in your owner's manual. For example, 0W30 grade oil remains thin enough to flow properly even in temperatures as low as -40 degrees Fahrenheit, while 5W30 works down to -31 degrees Fahrenheit. Finally, here's one dashboard indicator you should never ignore. Number 9. Ignoring the temperature gauge. That little temperature gauge on your dashboard, it's one of the most important tools your car gives you, especially in the winter, and ignoring it can lead to some eye-watering repair bills. What it's really doing is keeping tabs on your engine's coolant temperature, and those readings can give you an early warning before small problems become catastrophic ones. If the gauge starts creeping toward the red zone or fluctuates wildly, that's a clear sign something's wrong. And in freezing conditions, the risks can be even greater. A rising temperature can mean your engine is overheating, often caused by low coolant levels, a malfunctioning thermostat, or even a blocked radiator. Overheating can damage vital components like the head gasket, cylinder heads, or even the entire engine block. Repairs for something like that? Easily thousands of dollars. Fortunately, regular checks can prevent these issues. The gauge might reveal coolant is low, a quick fix with the right antifreeze, or that the thermostat isn't regulating coolant flow properly, something a mechanic can replace without much hassle. Manufacturers also recommend periodic coolant changes. Skipping these can result in corroded components or improper cooling. Reading the temperature gauge might seem routine, but ignoring an unusual reading could cost you. Address any spikes or drops immediately and save your engine and your wallet from a major breakdown. Now that you know these 9 myths, here's how to take action and keep your engine running smoothly all winter. Now's the perfect time to check your car and make these adjustments before the next freeze hits. Your engine will thank you, and so will your bank account. Have more winter car tips? Share them in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more expert advice.